Who are you? Do you think of yourself as a leader? If not, you might not come across a book like the Zen Leader. But we're talking about leadership in its broadest sense, authentic self-expression that creates value. You may be surprised by how much the Zen Leader accelerates you past some of the weight of your daily life, how it can reframe your thinking, or show you how to expand your influence. For the Zen Leader is not some model out there for you to copy, but it is your own nature, freely expressed, beyond the ordinary fears and constraints of the ego. How is this possible? I'll tell you a bit about it, and you decide if it's possible for you. So let's go back to the question, who are you? Our usual answer is pretty simple. From the perspective of I who thinks, hey, I'm myself in my skin. We might add a few embellishments from our resume, but we're still myself in my skin, period. The first problem with this answer, it is profoundly incomplete. And part of us knows that without having words for it, which then fuels an ongoing search for meaning. What's this all about? The second problem with this answer is it makes us feel vulnerable. Here we are, fragile, biological beings full of needs for air, food, water, safety, needs for love, personal esteem, achievement, a whole Maslow's hierarchy of needs required for our survival and contentment. And what if we can't get them filled? Then fear arises. What if I'm not safe, not loved, not good enough? We'll do many things to avoid these fears. From eating too much when we can, to manipulating relationships, to feel good about ourselves, to having to be right so we don't have to fear being wrong, to becoming an achievement machine in order to feel worthwhile, greed, arrogance, indignation, blowing up, checking out, butt covering, butt kissing maneuvers are all evidence of fear. Some need in us is worried it won't be met enough. The third problem with this answer is it makes us feel like separate selves that stuff happens to. And do you think there's plenty of stuff happening? It's happening faster all the time. And that's why most leaders I work with would say they're barely managing. Barely managing to keep up with the pace technology can now throw at us. The interrupts, the email, the texting, the sheer tonnage of information. Barely managing to keep up with the complexity of decisions, the diversity of cultures, generations that don't understand one another, the whitewater of change. Barely managing to keep up with competitors and customers, where business models that used to last 10 or 20 years are now done in maybe 2. Barely managing to make numbers, to hit targets. And guess what? The reward for doing so is a higher target next time with less resources. A relentless push for more with less. And finally, barely managing to balance the job amidst everything else of value in life, including meeting all those other needs and finding meaning in this mess. If you're waiting for it to slow down, forget it. It's not going to. There has to be another way to play this game. And there is. Enter Zen, and things have a chance to markedly improve. On the one hand, it's not surprising that leadership can be improved through Zen, the core practice of which is meditation. For more than 30 years of research have shown profound effects of meditation on the brain. Richard Davidson, who's been a leader in this research, writes about much of it in a book called The Emotional Life of Your Brain. I'll tell you about a couple of the studies. In one of them, he tracked anxiety levels of participants in a meditation program and found they dropped by 12%, while there's 3 times more activity in the left prefrontal cortex, a region of the brain associated with positive emotions. In a second study using functional MRI techniques, researchers found the areas of the brain associated with empathy lit up when people did compassion meditation. Far from being permanently hardwired, the brain has far more plasticity than it was once given credit for. And meditation is clearly a way to rewire it. Studies have shown meditation increases the connectivity between the prefrontal cortex and that emotional amygdala, corresponding with increased self-regulation and less negative emotion. It's been shown in different studies to improve attention, increase sensitivity, increase self-awareness, reduce noise in brain waves, increase their synchrony, improve cognitive skills, even immune response. But impressive as this list is for supporting leadership, it's just the beginning. These are just the ways we objectively study your brain on meditation. The real power is what happens inside out, subjectively. For the subjective experience is a radical reframing of who we are that reframes our life, our leadership, everything. It starts simple enough, addressing some of those subtle fears that otherwise keep the ego's game going. For example, as we become more self-aware, we may notice that we say yes to too much work, that we feel only we can do many things, and delegating's a challenge. But as we see ourselves more deeply, we'll see where our own need for achievement keeps asserting itself, and it doesn't really serve us to keep gorging on achievement any more than it would to keep gorging on food. With more self-regulation, it becomes natural for us to modulate our need, develop others, connect with others, delegate work. Seeing where our outward behaviors have an inner source and flipping them around is part of the journey of the Zen leader. But there's more. The real pay dirt is what happens to our sense of self when we experience what all that brainwave synchrony is evidencing. What's called samadhi, where self and other disappear, and a sense of all-embracing oneness becomes our own experience. Now we sense beyond what the eye can think, and who am I is revealed in its enormity. Like left and right hand coming together to clap, we increasingly act out of a sense of inner knowing, of belonging to one system. From this connectedness arises insight about what future is worth creating, energy with which to create it, and a sense of support deeper than our fears. From coping to transforming, from tension to extension, from driving results to attracting the future, from local self to whole self. The Zen leader guides you through 10 such flips in consciousness that propel you from a state of barely managing, or wherever you're starting from, to a place of leading fearlessly, and that free and full expression of the Zen leader in you. And through that expression, you create a more joyful life and a better world. But don't take my word for it. Run your own experiment and realize the Zen leader in you.